Okay, so we are going to start now. So welcome aboard, everybody. Um, Today we are having our book discussion of When Will You Die, the socio-psychological novella which explores many how would you say, is that like I was saying, we're going to talk about When Will You Die by Jayanthi Sankar. And small introduction about Jayanthi Sankar, that she's a Singaporean novelist who enjoys expanding the scope of her creative space, has been in several international panels of literary festivals, including the APWD 2018 at Gold Coast, Singapore Writers Festivals, Asian India Pravasi Bharati Divas Writers Festival. Born and brought up in India, the multiple international awardee Jayanthi Sankar lives in Singapore since 1990. When Will You Die, her fourth book, a novella, amazes her readers through its profound exploration of the human psyche. Tabula Rasa, her third book and the second novel, was the 2022 NYC Big Book Award Distinguished Favorite in the category of historical fiction and an honorable mention in San Francisco Book Fest Award 2022. Misplaced Heads was the Eyelands Book Awards 2020 final list of historical fiction in Greece, making its mark as an outstanding postmodern historical fiction. The winner in fiction short story in 2020 International Book Award, American Book Fest, Dangling Gandhi, also won the International Literary Titan Award. The title of the story, Dangling Gandhi, was shortlisted out of the 165 worldwide entries, second twist and twin international short story contest. Her other recognitions include CLS Global Award, the prestigious Tagore Ratna Award, Top 50 Most Influential Authors 2021 by Delhi Wire, and Litfest Excellence Award and Sahitya Kosh Saman by NE8X, apart from several other shortlists and nominations. The ex-journalist has curated and edited two imported anthologies, Dancing Gold Flecks and An Iron Fist in a Velvet Glove, published by Zero Degree Publishers in 2023. Also a watercolor hobbyist, works currently with the Ministry of Manpower, CRD, as a full-time interpreter, English, Tamil, Hindi, after freelancing for more than 2 decades. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for this book discussion. And it has been, for me, it has been a personal experience when I read your book back in February 2023. And it was something which was new for me. And it was also something that made me think about a lot of, relationships, not just and the premise, how you started it, and where it led to. So I really liked the way you have woven the story on psychological trauma caused by upon different people due to the social occurrences in their day-to-day life, and you have written a beautiful story around it. Did you read any texts on mental health and speak with any victims of mental health before and while writing this book?
Thank you. Read with us book club and Sukaina and Kushbu. And no, I didn't read any resources, or I didn't talk with anyone especially to write this. Definitely not, because I know well, if I am going to write only based on psychology, for example, I have to use many terminologies and go in depth, coining somebody with some issue and all. Then I have to do all the research. But my novel is only it's not even fleetingly mentioning any psychological issues. If you can read, it's about the inner worlds of the characters which the readers can relate to.
Yeah, that is there.
I didn't write about any other being from another planet. In fact, I wrote only about humans, and I have seen enough of humans in my life, and it's not something like I said, if I have to write something like split personalities or some psychological thriller, this, that, focusing on one character that is really into some kind of an issue, psychological issue, I must research. I didn't have to do, because humans are humans, humans are all flawed. Okay, we're all flawed. No one is perfect.
Absolutely.
And every human, mental illness is so generic and subjective, in my opinion. And no one, if one person has some mental illness, then how are you going to measure that mental illness, the depth of it? Because everyone, even when you go to a psychologist, the person who's going to the so-called treat you or maybe counsel you is a human being again. That person also might have some flaws, mental illness. Let me tell you one thing. I have seen in my life about 9 to 10 or sometimes 10 out of 10 people. Everyone has some mental illness. It is only how bad or how intense it is. That's all it is about. Therefore, I didn't have to do any special research to write this novel or my characters in this novella. So if I have to write something really deeper, then I might, which I don't see coming. Most unlikely. Did I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. You absolutely did. So, which was the most challenging and difficult part for the present book for you as a writer to write?
Well, I loved writing some portions, but I had to cut them off, chop them off, throw them off, especially my final chapter, the last chapter. I wrote 3 versions, and I decided to give this cliffhanger. And so many portions I just chopped and threw away. Deleted, in fact. And one reader, just after the book was released, texted me, I think, or emailed me, asking, was this cliffhanger? Did you plan to do it, ma'am? I said, no, there was another ending which I had, but I was not happy about it. I was only keeping it. I mean, thinking, I'm not satisfied. Should I have this? Then I came up with this cliffhanger. And when I said that, she said, I'm very curious to read that other other first one that you wrote. I want to know how you ended it. Can I get to read it? I don't have it in my, even in my trash folder. I threw it really. I emptied my trash also. So I didn't have it. So I couldn't show her. So I threw away many portions which I really loved. But you know why? I had to just chop them off, throw them off, because I had two challenges I had in my mind when I started on this. One is, I must write a novel which is not historical fiction, because I had already written 2. I didn't want to come to historical fiction. The third one, that was one thing I said, I will not write this. The third one also historical. Second was, I wanted a small one. Many readers expressed their opinion, saying, your works are very profound, and it's long. The novels are very big and all that. You can only write like this, they will ask me. It's not like that. Of course, I can write smaller, but what I wanted to do, I wanted to write a short one, fast-paced, which everyone can read. So I had to fulfill those challenges that I kept for myself, and that's why I had to cut and throw many of the portions, and that to cut which part and to keep which part was the most challenging for me.
So,
So
I remember reading your book, Tabula Rasa, and this is a question that I wanted to ask you actually. You have in this book, in When Will You Die, and in Tabula Rasa, in both the novels, you have in the novella and the novel, you are focused on the lives of the immigrants.
yes.
So, how has this topic or this theme, affected your writing, or how it has come into being in your writing?
I grew up as an immigrant. My father was a central government engineer, civil engineer, who used to be transferred very often, 2 3 years, 2 3 years he used to. I studied in many schools in many cities. Migrating from one place to another was like going for party for us, going for shopping for us. It was that common in our life, in our family. I saw migration since young, since I knew myself as a toddler, from then on. And in 90, I came to live in Singapore. And after that, I have not gone, only for holidays, I've gone out of this island. Also, I visit India once in a while, once in a few years. But here, this, this island nation of Singapore is actually formed by migrants 22 centuries ago. And being being a person who during the formative years, being a migrant myself, this fascinated me. This island nation that was formed, built by migrants, that the very concept fascinated me. And I'm here for 33 years now. So about 20 years ago, when my kids, both my boys, were studying history, of course, Singapore history, right? So I used to just sit with them, and I sit with them like sometimes we ask questions, they have to, before exam, we're just checking, all mothers do. So I get to know how Singapore was formed. And then, of course, this children's syllabus is one. It's very diluted, or you can say that just the skeleton of it. So when for my own interest, I went on reading a lot about Singapore migration. I mean, the migrants who formed Singapore, the migrants who built Singapore. And so the migration, migrant population, even today in Singapore, is a large. When you talk about Singapore, you cannot escape from touching migration. That's what I meant. Migration. That's why when I write, my fiction mostly is Singapore, Singapore's people, Singapore issues, and therefore, the migration definitely will come there. And you go on a train in Singapore, you go on a train, you just if you happen to talk to 10 people, out of 10, you will come across 8 migrants. They may be recently migrated to Singapore, or just several years back, they have migrated to Singapore. Like me, they migrated 30 years ago, but they're all migrants again. So for people who are descendants of forefathers who migrated, they may call themselves really locals, right? So they are the children or grandchildren of those times who migrated. But even descendants of migrants. That's all about it. Did the migrant generation gave birth to children or grandchildren, or did the new recently migrated people? It's only that difference. Everything boils down to migration, migration, migration. So when you talk about Singapore, migration is one topic that you cannot escape.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a large, there's a large part of Singaporean history that remains to be told about, you think, in Singapore.
You have lots of resources. It's not just, I have written one novel, not like that. There are many non-fiction written, fiction also is written. But that's why when we take a topic or theme that is often touched, it becomes all the more challenging to do it in a way that it stands out. It's not one of its kind, one of it, in the sense, one of the several books that already came. So so for us to make it stand out of the crowd, that is where the challenge comes. So how am I going to make it unique?
And I think that's where the cliffhanger came. That's where the cliffhanger came.
Novella, cliffhangers are everywhere in every fiction novel. So it's not nothing so unique about it. What I meant was the way I handled that migration. I meant the migration and the story arc, those things. Cliffhanger is nothing. Cliffhanger, and some people who read that cliffhanger, they said, is there a sequel? No, certainly not. Not at all. Because it was a simple story. I needed a simple ending, which is not so concrete. As in, to say that Joe did this is what happened to Joe. We won't know because he absconded, and therefore anything could happen to him, right? So let the readers just imagine. I wanted that kind of a participation from the readers. Therefore, I did it as a cliffhanger. That's all. Cliffhangers are nothing unique.
So when was the exact moment when you knew there was an event in your life or some person that inspired you or motivated you to write actually Sui's stories?
Oh, so Sui's character is a foil not only to Joseph, but also to some extent to Susan too.
Susan.
The character of Sui actually formed in me based on, and just one line, my ex-colleague commented about her cousin's husband, but this happened a decade ago. But that single sentence stayed with me. And I guess that only based on that comment she did 10 years ago or 11 years ago, based on that, I formed the character of Sui. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's just the inspiration.
Yeah.
10 years back.
Yes, one of my colleagues, I even forgot her name and face because it was a short period that we were working together. But one sentence from her when we were just chit-chatting during lunch, and that comment, she commented about her cousin's husband. That's all. Nothing. I was not related to that person who she was commenting about. But the way she said it stayed with me, and I formed Sui's character based on that.
So Sui, Susan, Joe, and the grandmother, of course, they all have flaws and they are distinguished characters.
Yes.
So what was your process in developing these characters in the book?
Very interestingly, I have mentioned this in many of my interviews post-publication of When Will You Die? My protagonist, in my previous work, which is Tabula Rasa, led me to create characters of this novella. And as usual, I began with the characterization. Soon they shaped themselves. They started talking to me, and I saw them growing and shaping and moving forward. And I just let them grow, and I watched as I wrote. And so this, When Will You Die? The characters were all inspired by the main character and also the other characters of Tabula Rasa.
Okay. So I really enjoyed, actually, all of us enjoyed the way you started the pen pal, ritual in between the characters. So the letters also come in the middle, which kind of gives us a sense of inquisitiveness to the book. So how did you end up crafting about the letters and the concept of pen pals? Like, was it something that inspired you?
Like one of my seniors always says, there are no stories untold. All stories have already been told. You know what he means by that? He means, of course, mostly all stories have been told. But how do we make our story stand out? Engage the readers or bring some freshness to the narrative. In that perspective, storytelling, in my opinion, can matter a lot. How you move the story, how you're telling the story is where you can score. And by nature, I'm one of the authors who constantly explore different interesting ways to tell my story. And that's how I bring the uniqueness and freshness to my fiction. I don't like to write, the linear chronological, although When Will You Die is in a way chronological, but I couldn't help it because I wanted it as simple read for everyone. I didn't have scope for doing much of juggled or shuffled narration. So for I believe I believe in writing non-linear, multi-layered narrative, and
Okay.
so I create because I need challenge while writing, and those non-linear, multi-layered narrative really challenge me, and that I need every time. And after I'm done with my creative process, it goes to my readers, and my fiction also challenges them to participate while reading instead of just reading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I always wish to break the monotony also in my creative process, as well as in my writing, the text itself. And by doing all this, I get my readers to participate in my creative process as well through their reading. Because I don't like to spoon feed my readers. I give you something, you consume, is not what I like to write. If I have to write such a work, I would rather not write at all. I will stop for good. My readers must participate, and I leave ample scope for that, And I believe modern fiction has to do that. Like in pulp fiction, regular, the people, most mainstream media, as they call it, is just I give you, you consume. Meaning, for example, it's a triangular love. Again and again, it may be two guys, one girl, or two girls, one guy, and people read. That's one way of writing. That's one way of reading. And more copies sell, more copies, because many can read. Because people are always in a herd mentality. They go for that. But will the fiction stay in their head? No. by the time they get to the last page of the book, they forget the whole thing. It has nothing for them to remember. It holds nothing for them to remember. Not worthy of remembering, right?
Okay.
For me, like I said, it's very important to challenge myself while I write, to challenge my readers to participate in my creative world. So that's why crafting is very important for me. So I take it. Yeah.
You believe in challenging your readers is something that I have learned through your novella, because there were arcs and there were situations where you were pushing the reader, and so when we discuss in the group, or if in general in a group of friends, because as you know, in the book club, your book has been read by a lot of us now, so there are readers' perspectives as well. So if we have a scenario that we are discussing, there is, how would you say, a perspective. So what do you have to say about that? Because not everybody reads the book, the same book, the same way.
The same way. Correct. Yes. Very
so,
correct. And a book that can, for example, like I said just now for the other question you asked me, the regular mainstream reading, right? It has nothing to create that. For example, 10 people will read, 10 of them can read the same, because that's what it has, the regular readings. But when the author challenges herself to create something that is non-linear and multi-layered, challenging herself and the readers that are going to read it very soon, that is when there are scope for reading differently. Each reader, based on the exposure in her life, reader A differs from B, not just because of the age, but more because of the backgrounds, the upbringing, the way she went through life, what she saw in life. Depending on all that, she can read the same novella differently. And that's the whole beauty of a good fiction, I would call. So it is important that each reads differently. If suppose one of my future works, touch wood, no, I will never write like that. There is one novel or novella is coming and 10 readers reading the same way, then it is a disaster for me. It cannot be so. It shouldn't be so.
So Joe is, I felt that Joe is really troubled.
Yes.
So he has an arc which went like a heartbeat for me. So he was like going, there was a straight line and then he suddenly shoot up and then he went, he mellowed down and then again there is a shoot up. Yes. So how was writing Joe as a character? Because Joe is somebody I felt that I couldn't decide, should I be empathizing with him or should I be angry with him? Is he
both? Yeah. both. Why should you be one? Because that's how complex that particular character is. He has certain good things about in him. At the same time, his early childhood is leaving certain things in to be brought up by grandmother and sister who's like a mother to him, right? Father ran away, and such complex, confused family with different emotions. Like Susan is overly protective and overly motherly to him. Grandmother is wise, but she's unable to control Susan, who's like that. And this guy, he's so pampered by sister. At the same time, he's seeing the world. When he starts seeing the world, when he starts living his life, he's not equipped with what he should be, the wisdom or the composure or the anything, compassion towards others or the smartness, street smartness, nothing. He's just emotional, and in between he's also having that heartbreak, right? She went away, right?
Susan went away. Yeah.
Yeah, the girlfriend. So that is the trigger there. That's where he becomes cranky. That's where he thinks he perhaps, these are unsaid words in the novella. Any reader can imagine that he put all his hopes on that girl, and when she left him, obviously the triggers are he is sinking in depression. And when he is in depression, all sorts of nonsense are surfacing, right? So that's why it's up and down, up and down. Yes, I know what you mean. And it has to be like that. That's how he is.
So continuing with Joe's character, because I think he must have been the toughest to write.
Yes, toughest. Yes.
So his how would you say, relationship with Susan was almost like a mother mother and son. So we usually have seen that if there is absence of a mother, the grandmother or somebody elderly takes over. But here Susan, she's actually reprimanded for taking sides. And then she is by her grandmother for taking care of Joe, that why are you taking his responsibility? But she insists that she wants to take. So this was something that that somebody wants to take care of someone despite them being so young. Like she was just 14 years old when Joe was handed over to her.
Younger, even younger, I think, if I'm not wrong, 11 or 12. Okay.
Yeah, 12 actually. Yeah, yeah. So where did this this emotion come from? Is it just something you've read about, or
no. The thing, the grandmother character, because Susan's mother ran away and came back, and that's when she gave birth to this boy. The elder generation, they see such a scenario differently. When the same woman, if she was at home, she gave birth to Susan, I mean, not Susan, they are Joe, in a straightforward, as in, without those background complications, she running away and all that. Imagine it is a straight Susan's sibling, straight Susan's brother. Then grandmother wouldn't have been this cranky. She was behaving differently only because mother ran away and came back and gave birth to that boy, right? However accommodative she can be, she will look at that boy like that. She will have his welfare at heart, but at the same time, she doesn't encourage Susan pampering him. She thinks he will be spoiled. And but Susan, I've seen many elder sisters taking care of younger siblings. For example, I am the eldest also of the four children in our family. Between myself and the fourth, it is 8 years difference. So I'm the eldest, the youngest brother, we both are 8 years old difference. In between are my sister and brother. What I mean to say is, when I don't know how, but whenever I see my other brother, I feel like brother. Whenever I watch my youngest brother, I don't know. I have a mixture of his brother and my son like that, because I held him in my hand. I have seen him grow. So probably that motherly thing comes there without knowledge, without my awareness, right? Involuntarily, if I can call that. And so Susan happened to be such a sister who was like a mother, and it fell in place. It came out well. Yeah, people like that motherly Susan.
Everybody supports Susan. Like, everybody is not happy with the grandmother. Everybody is not happy with Joe. And actually, at the moment, there is somebody. Khushbu has asked that. No, she's actually said that Joe was not equipped with the tools to handle letdowns.
Yes,
is what she says.
That's what I meant when I said he was not ready for leading his own life on his own, because she pampered him so much, took care of him so much that he wasn't ready. But when the heartbreak from the girlfriend came, it was the trigger, and he fell into depression, and all those things came up. Lack of job, not staying in a job. It's a vicious circle. One thing comes and the other again, repeat. Unless you break that repetition, it goes on a vicious cycle. That's what happened in Joe's case.
So with Susan, I wanted to ask you, she is very giving, and I felt that she was someone that I think you must have known very personally, or she was you, because very giving and very kinder than kind. I mean, she never. Of course, there is a point in the book where she bursts, but there is this kindness in her that it doesn't let you feel like, no, Susan can do no wrong. So where is Susan inspired from, or like, how did you write her character?
Actually, it was not intentional. To make her kinder, like I'll use the same word that you used, kinder than kind. It was not in my mind. She formed that way. And one of my closest friend who read it, she pointed out the same thing that you said, kinder than kind, too benevolent and things. And she told me, while you created Susan, without your knowledge, your magnanimity, your benevolence, and your kindness have come there, undercurrent. It's there in Susan, undercurrent, she said. And I felt, because she knows me since young, she knows what kind of person I am. So she pointed at that one. Now you say kinder than kind. And that's the point, I think. She felt I was there, deep inside Susan, all throughout. But when she pointed out, when I thought about it, that's when I realized, perhaps without my knowledge, it has come out like that. Susan has come out like that. And yeah, maybe I'm there in her.
Because when you read the novella, you're like, why is this happening with Susan? Is what, throughout my reading, I was questioning that why does Susan have to get, like, I felt she didn't have a choice. Like, though at some places she did have a choice, but then still there is something inside her, like when she has to choose between her brother and her Sui. She had to choose, but she didn't want to choose. She wanted to stay with with Joe.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a sacrificial personality that Susan,
more than sacrifice, it might be true if there is an element of sacrifice, maybe more than sacrificing. The word you used earlier, so
kinder than
giving,
kind.
kind
Giving.
and kind is there. Giving,
yeah,
giving. That is also my personality. I can never say no. That's my personality. I'm a giver, out and out a giver. And like I said, when my friends pointed out, she said this also. You being a giver, it's there in Susan. She always puts others, those two guys, before herself, like you do all the time. You put others before yourself. You prioritize others' sensitivities before your own. It's there, and that's when I also thought, okay, that Susan was, I mean, undercurrent. The core of myself maybe came in her, Susan's core. So there are, I mean, if someone is going to say there's no one can be like Susan, no, I'm here.
Nobody can be that good, but then we will say
yes,
that.
Yes. My son, every other day he will come and lecture me. Don't be like this, ma. You have to think about yourself also. You see, don't be like this. Don't keep putting others before you. No. You have lived enough of that. I said, I'm not able, I can't even change my core now. If I have to change, I should have done it in my 20s or 30s. No more. Let me be like this. I have lived well, and let me live rest of my life the same way. So that's how we both converse, my son and I. He knows. And he also said, after reading, I can feel many of you in Susan. My son also read it. So he said that.
So I think a lot of readers have noticed that there are elements of you in Susan.
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe they thought, but they never expressed. Since you took the topic, you asked me a question, and I took it as an opportunity to say that. But I don't think anyone pointed that in their review or verbally or text message. No, not many. I don't think. Maybe they thought, but they didn't express.
Okay. But yeah, when I was reading it throughout, but of course there is the larger part of it is the complexities of the relationship, and how there are secrets, and how there are secrets in the society, in between relationships, and you can never say that people tend to give us how would you say, lectures about how one relationship is sacred than the others. And and then we'd see a relationship of Susan and Sui, and also of Susan and Joe, where we are supposed to, we think that there will be no secrets, and there are pious and it's pure. So you have actually broken that mold of that there is no such thing as,
true. It's not true. Every relationship has its the beauties and uglies, everything together. The goodness, how much of goodness, how much of badness, maybe this more, this less, or sometimes same relationship over the years, this comes up, this comes down also, right? That's how it is. No relationship is that typically idealistic. I don't think so. And I'm sure readers will agree to that. It is not like that. Even Susan has her flaws, like
absolutely.
She has her flaws. That is where Susan really differs completely from me. For example, she goes window shopping and shopping. to let out her, vent out her frustrations and all, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate shopping. I don't go shopping. Susan, in that sense, I think I wanted to write maybe something that I am not. So perhaps, so that's her way of venting her anger, frustrations, and anything. And she does that. She overspends and all those things she does, right? So she has her flaws. So everyone is flawed. Everyone has mental issues, different forms, different shades, different intensities. That's what I believe. And that's why, that is why no one has the right to judge another one. No human being has the right to judge another human being.
But don't you think that we all are judgmental? Like at the end of the day, there is some judgment.
I don't. I'm not.
But are
I
you
am
sure?
not.
Like, you're not.
Yes, I am I'm not. I'm not at all judgmental. And that's my strength and that's my weakness, as my closest friend tells me. What I mean to say is, judging is easy.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. It is.
It is easy.
Yes.
But do you know the journey the person has gone through? It's easy to comment, judge, instantly. But what about the journey that person, even for Joe, for example,
Mm-hmm.
if as a reader, if I'm going to judge Joe, you are troubling Susan so much. What an idiot you are. I can tell, right? But Joe has a journey which shaped his personality, which brought about the positives as well as the negatives in him. So just today I go, hi, Joe. Someone is introducing Joe to me. I shake hands with him. And he's saying something to his sister standing nearby, Susan. It's a comment. It's an awful comment. No human being will comment another human. For example, I'm creating a scene. And if I'm going to say, this guy is terrible, man. That's blindly judging. And if I try to leave it at that and try to find out what makes him say that, what makes him behave like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how wisdom functions. Where there is intellect and intelligence, too much of it, and arrogance, there is judgment. When there is wisdom and compassion mixed, there is no judgment.
Great. That's all from my side, actually. Thank you so much, Jayanthi ma'am.
Thank you. Sure.
So, before ending the book discussion, I would ask the members if they have any questions. They could ask. They could unmute themselves.
Most welcome. Yeah, most welcome.
They could ask.
Yes.
And or if they could, they can write it in the chat. Anything about your writing, because I really want to know how do you your writing process goes like.
Oh, my writing process is so indisciplined and with no routine or time, because you know what, especially my first draft, it will be very indisciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Because I let my characters grow themselves. I interact with them, argue with them. It's a kind of madness that goes. And once the first draft is done, I start rewriting chapter by chapter. That is when my madness reduces, my intellect and heart will try to be balanced, because this is where I don't want to take the humanness, that the organic elements that came about in the draft. I don't want to take away that. They have to be there. At the same time, here my intellect will interfere while rewriting to bring about artistry. One thing. Second, to retain things and to take off things. Thirdly, to think about my readers. I will start thinking about my readers. So if I'm going to let my intellect take over too much, when I'm very scared, the human side of things will go away. I cannot let my intellect take over. I have to retain those things. So that is the challenge in this phase. Once that is done, my editing phase comes. That is where my intellect can fully take over.
Okay.
And yes, because there I won't touch the content anymore. It's there because it's all rewritten. Now the brain or the intellect takes over, editing, ruthlessly editing. Take away. This is not going to help the story. Take out, chop off, those things. And where to, again, third time rewrite. And all those. Second stage of editing will be sentence editing. Third stage will be minute words and spelling and syntax, punctuation. So this is my process. So I take more time. I take more time rewriting than my writing. And I take more time editing than my rewriting.
Okay. So I usually say this. When I start reading a book, I let the author, let me take you. And here you're saying that you write for the reader. So you have actually...
No, I don't write for the reader. Definitely not.
Okay. Okay.
I take into account the readers while rewriting, because if I were to think about my readers, what they will like, oh, they will like some romance, let me create romance. No way. No way. If there is some romance needed, let it happen.
Okay.
If it is not needed, it won't happen. Just because my readers might like, I will not introduce something, something which I don't want to. So no, not like that. While writing, it is all about myself, not even about myself. It is all about the theme, the plot, the backdrop, and the characters. That the characters will take the story forward. Then I leave those characters. While rewriting, how much is needed? How much of this is needed? That is when I think like a reader, little bit like a reader. While editing, of course, I have to think of the readers. I cannot make it too complex sentences or shuffled narration and all. I can't do too much abstract and all. I can't do. That is when I will give importance to my readers. So, what? Someone has written something.
Yeah. That's Khushbu has written. I wish Sui's character got closure. I felt for him and sometimes got angry at him for not understanding Susan. Did you have any plans for his character that could not be accommodated on the novella?
Sui is a character. I'm sure you all felt like this. I'm very sure you felt like that. Although he speaks less, he has lesser role in the novella. You can feel his complete unconditional love for Susan. You can feel it throughout, I'm sure. And that is what Sui is supposed to be for that novel. Because Susan is so emotional, so outgoing, and so unpredictable also. Whereas Sui is very predictable, very steady, down, grounded, what they say. So closure for him. Sui's character, how to give closure? I'm thinking. How did I end his character? I didn't end his character. He was there. That's all. So yeah, only Joe had some mysterious ending, right? Sui was there for Susan. That's all. Sui didn't know that who's that? Susan saw her father and the other guy in Andaman when they met. Sui didn't know till the end. Only Susan knows. They both went to Andaman for holiday.
Okay.
Yet, yeah, she didn't say. Probably she thought if I say, maybe he will come with anger, Sui, and or maybe she felt embarrassed. Another thing is, it was too sudden for her. It was too sudden for her to see them both there, and they didn't even recognize her.
So had you decided a closure for Sui? Because like you said that you had cut out a lot of writing.
No, I didn't decide anything for Sui like that. In fact, Sui was not much altered in my rewriting. Sui was like this only, plain, and except for one incident. Remember, he takes Joe to a place. He's to discipline him. That's his way of doing. Even that she doesn't know till the end. Susan doesn't know he did that. Remember, you have one incident there in the beginning of the novella. That Susan doesn't know till the end.
Yeah.
That incident. He did that. And after that, of course, I didn't take that topic later, but he didn't tell Susan. This guy also, Joe also didn't tell. Joe thought Sui might have shared with Susan, and Sui thought Joe might have told, but neither of them share it with Susan. Except that one incident. Other than that, Sui is a plain character, a grounded character. That's all. I don't think I need a closure for Sui. I don't know. Only Joe and Susan are complex characters.
Yeah, and the grandmother is mean. She's a mean person.
Do you think so? I mean, she. I think yeah, she has her emotions. She has her ways to talk and all. But at the same time, like I said, a person who goes through ups and downs in life, especially with her dearest only daughter doing all that. She's changed. She doesn't know how to handle people anymore, and her own daughter did that. Of course, she's not able to take that, and that's how I can give her some justification for whatever she is.
So great. I think there's one more question chat actually. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's Khushbu, that it was open-ended for him. So Sui is open-ended. So
yeah.
So this is all from our side. thank you so much, Bam.
Yes,
It
yes.
was lovely interacting with you, and I really, it was really also enlightening at so many different topics other than your book.
Yeah,
And we're sure that your book does reach more readers,
yeah.
and people actually understand the relationships of all the four main characters actually of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it is also it was also very refreshing to hear your take on the characters and why they are the way they are, and
Yeah.
not being, because usually when there is a character which is not likable,
Mm-hmm.
but the author usually would say that, oh, I'm sorry, but you said that no, that's like humans have flaws,
No,
you're not
yeah.
apologetic about it, and that's very
I
refreshing.
mean, readers need not like a character. Let them be angry with the character. Let them hate the character. Hatred, dislike is also an emotion. And as an author, as the creator of the character, I will feel happy. Oh, it's so credible. She's angry with it. It's so credible. She hates the character. Imaginary character is hated by readers. Is good. Let it be. I'm happy I did it. Credibly. The creation or shaping of the character was credible. That's how I see it. Of course, readers have their rights to dislike characters, hate, like, but it does not bother me. The one I'm working on, the novel
Uh-huh.
that I'm working on, also it has complex characters, and readers are going to like some of the characters, and they are going to hate some of the characters. That's how it can. Imagine a novel written in a way that all readers like all characters. Imagine
Hmm.
all readers can relate to all characters. Is it even possible? No, it shouldn't be like that. And if it is like that, then it's not a good writing. It has to have that variation. It has to have those things, right? For example, okay, I am Jayanthi, right? I have lived a life. I know of certain people. I know this life that I have led. If I'm going to write only based on myself and my journey and my people and my world, my novels are going to be the same all the time. My characters will repeat. My characters will not have variations.
I completely agree. So you're saying that as a writer, you have to step out of your world to
I'm
actually.
not there anymore. Once it goes for once my manuscript goes for
Mm-hmm.
layout, it leaves my hand. I focus on my next work that is waiting for me. Later, it becomes the readers. Let them hate it, let them like it, let them whatever they want to do. It's theirs. If I don't want all that, then I must write and keep in my folder.
So you're also saying that you have to be very brave to actually
It's
give
nothing
up.
brave. It's nothing to do with bravery, Sukaina. Nothing to do with bravery.
Okay.
What's there? It's nothing. What I mean is, it's a fiction. I'm creating a world. I'm inhabiting the world with characters. I'm letting them function. I'm letting them walk, talk, fight, love, everything. And when you are able to enter that world, feel it, hate it, dislike it, love it, like it, then that's what I want as an
Absolutely.
author. Why should why should I restrict with only liking?
That's also true. Completely.
It's for the readers. Let them like it. Let them hate it.
So this would be your message, that to, because we have a lot of aspiring writers in our book club. So would you tell them that, to actually just...
When I write, I'm so honest to myself. The world I'm creating and the emotions that I'm creating with the characters are so honest and so much credible, mostly relatable. That's about it. If you're going to think about, am I going to please the readers? Am I going to sell more books? That is more important. Aspirants, they go for, can I sell more? I can never think like that, Sukaina. When I create my world, I'm honest to that. That's all. Other things will come eventually, automatically. If you're going to think of 3 steps ahead about number of reviews, number of sales, this, that, then you're not doing what you should be doing now. I'm not bothered about all that. Those can come on its own. Let it come or let it not come. When I'm creating the world, that's all I'm thinking about. The characters, their emotions, their arcs, their experience, how they are doing what they are doing.
So you really immerse yourself in the world.
Yes, that's all. Enjoy it. Enjoy creating that world. So that the readers also will enjoy reading it. Whatever happens later, let it happen. For me, that's how I see. But young people, they are more concerned. They are so scared about what will happen after publishing. What can happen, what may not happen. They are so scared to lose face. No need. It's after all a fiction. Do it well, honestly. And that's when magic can happen. When you do that, creating a world, fictional world and characters, honestly, magic can happen. I have experienced time and again and again. I'm experiencing for the 5th time. I'm working on the fifth book.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And it was lovely talking to you, interacting with you, and it's a great honor that we had you with us today.
Thank you.
Giving us so much insight about writing and talking about the characters, complexities, and the many flaws that every human in all of us has.
Yes.
So it was wonderful talking to you. And Khushi is also here. Khushi,
Khushi, are you Khushi?
Khushi is there. Just a moment. I think she has... oh yeah, sorry, I have to unmute. Sorry. My fault. Just a moment. Khushi, were you able to unmute yourself? I've just sent you the...
Sugena, you're not allowing her.
I think, I in the settings, there is some problem. Chat. Host isn't allowing. Okay. Host isn't allowing. Okay, she'll... I think my settings when I scheduled the meetup, I think the settings got a bit changed. No problem.
Okay.
She is going to write. She's written actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay is what she wants to write.
No. That
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kushi. Yeah. Read with us book club. I must thank you, Sukaina, read with us book club for such a nice opportunity for me to talk like always I do. And yeah, we will meet again after my next the work in progress, but not so soon. Maybe next year, and we will be meeting again, hopefully. So we'll keep in touch.
absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that's great. You liked today's session. I also liked. I love to talk. I was an introvert. I used to just keep my mouth shut in my younger days. Later, I became so talkative. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity, all of you. Would be definitely.
Oh yeah, are you coming to India anytime soon? I would also love to meet you.
Yeah, you're all in Calcutta, right?
No, I am in Delhi.
Delhi. Okay. Kushi, where is she?
She's in Calcutta.
Acha. And okay. I might 2024 Jan. Nothing is confirmed yet. So
Okay.
I'll see if I can touch Delhi, especially to meet you all.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For
Thank you very
joining us.
much. Yes.
Once
thanks.
again, it was our honor, and it was really lovely to have you with us today.
Anytime.
A really good Sunday that's spent today.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
opportunity.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.